Hey, everybody, welcome to this special episode, something new that we're trying. This is our projects and products episode number 1. This is where we're going to try and see, just to give you a little bit of news of what's happening in the industry and things, what we're doing and all of that stuff. So today, welcome to Lindsay, my
Good day.
and Harris, who's going to come on and talk about the magazine, the NSU magazine. Thank you so much for coming on, Harris.
Sure. Thanks for having me again.
Awesome to see you again, mate. So
good to see you too. Good to see you.
Today we're going to talk about the NSU magazine that's out this month. What date does it come out? Is it already out for this month?
Well, it is shipping now. I think it's going to be live on the website, I think next week, but it'll be available for order on beckettmedia.com. But it is shipping now, shipping to stores. Some people have already gotten theirs. I've seen online. Some subscribers already have theirs. So it's kind of like in soft release right now.
And what have you got in the magazine this month? Which card sets are we talking about?
We have an Elvis cover, as you can see, one of our vintage covers this time. We kind of alternate between vintage and modern. And
is
in
there
the
a
issue
set with Elvis? Is there a set with Elvis by any chance?
There's lots of sets. There's nothing new, but the magazine talks about all the classic releases from about the mid 50s on through the 2000s. There have been tons of Elvis sets from all different companies. There were amazingly a lot in the 2000s. Just surprisingly, a lot of retrospective Elvis sets popped up. Some of them were really large.
Are there a lot?
Right now we have, there's a new Elvis movie out, and so we thought it was a good time to do an Elvis cover. We haven't done one for like 20 years or something like that.
Wow. Would Elvis be like in the public domain now, or?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure I'm sure you still need an expensive license to do anything Elvis related, but I wonder if that'll happen eventually. I don't know how that works.
Are there a lot of trading card sets based on music groups or individuals?
I think we might have even talked about that the last time I was on. It kind of comes and goes, and no, there are not, and I wish there were more because I like music a lot, as everybody does. But I guess it must be too expensive to license. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite things of all time was a set called Chew Bops, which was these. They weren't really cards; they were miniature albums. They were like, I don't know, 2-inch by 2-inch, but they were exact replicas of albums back in the day. And they had a slab of bubblegum in them, and the bubblegum was an album shaped, and it even had little grooves and a hole in it. And they did maybe 8 different series of them. But I guess the reason I liked them was because they were exact replicas of the album covers.
Oh, I love
it. Back when album covers were really cool, Not that they're not now, but they were so much bigger then.
A card set of album covers would be amazing.
It would be great. It would be
that
great.
would be impossible, I would imagine. All the licensing involved. Nightmare.
Yeah.
What else have we got in the magazine for this month? So we've got Elvis on the cover.
Got Elvis on the cover. We have a large story about the new Elementals Series 2 set from Perna Studios.
We love Perna Studios. We adore Perna Studios, don't we?
Yeah.
That's for people who love art. It's nothing but original art on that. It's really great.
Right. Trying to look here. Refresh my memory. We do have a nice article about podcasting. You guys might have heard about it.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. We've interviewed you guys, so heard about all that stuff.
That's awesome, and it's also got the guys from MCU.
That's right. Yeah, we spotlighted them and yourselves.
Yeah, the Marvel card Marvel card collectors worldwide, if I'm not mistaken.
That's easy for you to say.
W. I said MCU, didn't I?
What's the name of this episode again?
This episode is Projects and Products.
Lindsay. Ingrid was having some trouble with that one.
Oh yeah, no, my tongue does not work very well. Too old for that.
Right.
What else do you have?
Let me check. We have another vintage article. We have an article about autos of 77, which is kind of
Oh my God, I know somebody who would be interested in that. I gotta get that.
Oh yeah, a very specific set. I guess Topps was at some point thinking of doing an annual auto series, and they did one in 77. It was not very popular. That's what the article kind of talks about. It's interesting to see some of the photos of some of those old cars, but I guess they had intentions of doing maybe an annual release, but it only made it to one series.
So the last time they tried that was way back when? So the last time they tried it was years ago?
Yeah, it was 77. So that's what? 50,
you never know.
Almost 50 years ago.
Now, times change.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's another thing that probably would be trouble licensing, by the way. They'd have to go to all the different card companies and get their approval. And maybe that's what kind of keeps them from doing something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. I know.
So complicated.
Yeah, everything is complicated these days.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I was going to say, aside from that, we have our non-sport news column, which focuses on smaller bits about new items, and that's always pretty interesting. We have the Dateline, which is the list of upcoming releases. We have our hot lists, which spotlights some of the. I think you're pointing the wrong. Well, on my screen, you're pointing the wrong way, but you're pointing down.
Oh, do I have to point down? Okay, well.
On my screen, anyway. I don't know what it looks like on your screen, but yeah, I'm not on the hot list.
Okay.
It's my second time on it. I was so proud. Like,
congratulations, that's great.
Congratulations, Lindsay.
Yeah, you're hot.
I am. I'm at the minute. I don't know why. It's a lovely surprise to wake up to, though. It always is.
Right.
And other people always tell you, they'll pop in your inbox and go, "Oh, I've seen you." And oh,
you're like, what? I don't know anything about this.
No, I do love your magazine. I've got quite a few of them now.
Okay, thank you.
But it's the only one that's out there for non-sport collecting cards.
Right.
Apart from like a really, like you mentioned earlier, really old.
Yeah, there is another publication that focuses more on vintage, but we do mix it up. We focus on modern stuff, the brand new stuff, and some vintage as well. Yeah.
In your magazine, did you mention you have the like a grading list as well, or was that on your website?
The grading list?
Well, I think I might be thinking of the wrong name.
Yeah, we do have there's a price guide in there. Is that what you're referring to?
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, a big chunk of the magazine is the price guide. That takes up the back half of the magazine. So yeah, we cover some of the modern and vintage releases. That's what you're thinking of.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So anybody who's just getting into sketch cards or wants to find out more about them, NSU magazine is just a brilliant one to buy because it'll tell you all that stuff you need to know, everything that's coming.
And then that hot list also talks about some of the, speaking of sketch cards, some of the most recent sales and some of the top end sales. So you can see what some of the top end cards have gone for in sketches and autographs and things like that. We also have trading cards in the issue too. I think one of them is going to look kind of familiar to you, Lindsay. We have the.
My God, Lindsay, you're all over the place. That's awesome.
This is a mashup between 4 companies. Lindsay, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, the Nosferatu set will be coming out, and there's going to be my company, Leg Day Cards. There's Jeremy's company, Attic Cards. There'll be Richard Parks' company, RR Parks Cards, and also Richard Folks' company, which is
RJF.
RJF card.
RTF design, right?
So I think it's the
Images
first time
design,
4
yeah.
different publishers have tried one thing all together. So we're going to see how it's going.
That's definitely a first. I don't know that I really have ever recalled 2 companies doing something together, let alone 4. So that's really cool.
With me being new to the game, I've just kind of been learning along, and getting a handle of the ropes, so to speak. Those guys have been sort of pushing forward with it.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with it.
That is one of 2 cards. The other one, we have an Outlander card too, and that's from
Outlander. Yeah.
This is season 5, Outlander season 5.
We spoke to is it Cryptozoic?
Yeah,
Cryptozoic.
Outlander.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
They've got some wonderful costumes and stuff.
Yeah. Those are Outlander's been incredibly popular. In fact, our next cover is going to be Outlander, and that'll be like our 4th, I think, Outlander cover over the last 6 or 7 years.
There's one thing I'd like to mention is I've gotten several copies of the NSU over gosh, so many years, and now I have a subscription. I love those extra cards that you have in there. I've kind of slowly gotten into collecting promo cards and things like that. It just makes for such a cool, colorful collection, I find, and I really like the cards you include in your with your magazine. You almost always have at least 3 or 4 cards, don't you?
Well,
Sometimes
it's been a little quieter lately. Sometimes there's only 1 or 2. Sometimes there's 3 or 4. It all depends. We're at the mercy of the manufacturers with that. So it depends on what they have coming out and how much they're promoting their cards and things like that. But
you had one of mine one year. I remember that. I think it was last year. You had one of mine. And you might be getting one from me also later this year for an upcoming set that I'm going to be putting out, possibly with a bunch of publishers too, of other publishers.
Okay.
So that's something that I'll be talking about in another episode.
Okay.
How many cards do you like to be sent to NSU? If you're adding a promo card in the magazine.
We generally ask for about 6,000 cards.
Yeah. Yes. For those who'd like to know,
Lindsay's ears in motion.
Yeah. For those who'd like to know, I think the last time I did it, Richard Parks, he helped me with all the math.
Okay.
But I think you order, it comes to be more economically friendly if you do like 10,000 of a card and then send 6,000 to NSU, and then with what's left over, you can really send them out to all your amazing fans and all that stuff. But yeah, it works out well with 10,000. Or if you can get on board a buddy with someone else to order a large number, that also works. But that's probably an episode we should do all on itself, actually. It's long and complicated, but yeah. Technicals, backdoor stuff, But anyway, so what else do you have coming up this month? Is there anything that you can mention on your list of upcoming sets, or do you prefer to keep that undercover?
No, we could talk about it. We do print a list of upcoming releases each time. We go to all the manufacturers and ask for an updated list. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth getting answers, but we try and get answers. We have a lot in there about what's coming out in August, September, and October. October we have a lot of Halloween releases.
Well, we'll have you back on to talk October. What's coming up for the month of August? May I ask?
For the month of August, there's a couple of releases from Fivefinity coming out. Some sketch card releases from them. There's a Slop Culture Kids series from Magic Marker Art. That's something like Garbage Pail Kids from Mark Pingatori's company. Maybe you met Ingrid at the last Philly show that you came to.
I think I did, yes.
There's actually Monster Wax is doing a Ukraine-based set. There's going to be a series on the war that they're doing. Richard Parks has his second Ultraman series coming out.
Yep.
And Unstoppable Cards has a Jerry Anderson related set coming out.
Cool.
That's pretty much the roundup. Usually August is probably not one of the strongest months for card releases because kind of the end of the summer. And not to say that any of those aren't strong, but I'm just saying it's usually not the,
People are
usually the end of
outside.
summer is, I'm sorry?
People are outside. Summer is
People are
short.
outside finishing up summer stuff, finishing up vacations and all that kind of stuff.
I think
Out of curiosity, have you ever had iconic creations in the NSU magazine?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, the sets are really, really popular. They keep selling out immediately, much like Pern Studios. So they might be, to look into. Yeah, that's one of their cards. They do.
Oh yeah, we have had them in the issues, but it's been a while. It has been a while. What are you working on now for them?
We've just done Way of the Sword 2.
Okay, yeah, I remember working with them for the Way of the first one.
There's a
beautiful art.
Cool set coming out later in the year. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is, but
okay,
I'm excited to work on that one. But yeah, they might be good for future.
All right, well, that's good to know. Good to know.
We do have we will be having a special episode on something about iconic cards coming up in August, I think it was. Lindsay, is it in August we're doing that?
It might be. The thing is with quite often with card sets, stuff gets delayed, doesn't it? And moved around.
Yeah, unfortunately it does.
You do have to kind of keep on your toes with it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So what have you got coming up for next month's issue for people, and where also if people want to actually buy a copy or get a subscription, where should they go for that?
Best place to go is beckettmedia.com or nonsportupdate.com. You can buy a subscription at either place. And we also sell on beckettmedia.com. You can also get single issues as well. So you could buy just the current issue, or back issues are for sale.
You do have back issues. Oh, that's good to know.
Yes. Yeah, we do have back issues.
Do those issues come with the promo cards that were included?
They sure do. Yep.
That's really interesting to know.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Another thing I want to mention is on the website, there's also a forum that you can go to, so you can chat to the people and share your collections and things like that. So if anybody wants to have a look at that,
that's card talk, non-sport update card talk. That is again access through nonsportupdate.com. So that's the best place to go for either of those things. And what else did you something else you asked, Ingrid, that I didn't answer? I forget. Oh, what's coming up on the next issue? Yeah, so we're bi-monthly. So this issue with the Elvis copy is just coming out now. The next one will be out in 2 months' time, and that one is one I mentioned. I think we're going to do an Outlander cover. That one also will have another Outlander promo card in it too, another exclusive Outlander card. And some of the other articles, like you said about the upcoming episodes, that's slipping my mind now too. But maybe we could talk about that again in a couple of months' time or something like that.
Absolutely, we'll have you on again for that.
That would be great.
We really, really do want to encourage people to go out and get a copy. These can also be found in the US in local stores, I think.
Yeah, we sell them. Some hobby shops, sports card shops, comic shops, things like that. Do sell them. Anybody that has access to Diamond can get copies. So they are available, and they're also available on some newsstands as well, like Barnes and Noble carry them, and some of the other Books A Million and places like that in the States carry them.
In Canada, you used to be able to find it sometimes in a few bookstores or magazine stores. It was not always easy to find, but you could find them occasionally. Now here in Quebec, I don't know if you can actually find them, perhaps in Ontario or
yeah, you probably can find them at maybe a couple of sports card shops and things like that. But newsstand distribution is not what it used to be. It's tough. It's really tough. So, but the magazine has been going strong for a long time now, since 1990. So we've seen a lot of ups and downs over the years.
So we really do encourage people who can to go out and find the magazine and get yourself a copy. And
that's right.
cool
or
cards.
subscribe.
And
Yeah,
Thank
us too cool.
you're gonna need to know. Like that's what I would say.
Yeah, thank you again for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have you on again for more updates.
Okay,
Probably the end of August or something.
sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you guys then.
Okay.
See you,
All right.
Harris.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hey, that was fun. All right. So as everyone knows, we're kind of winging this a little bit today. This is a new trial for updates and what's happening. And so it was really nice to have Harris on.
Oh, he's lovely, isn't he, Harris? I really want to try and get some way. I want everybody to buy the magazine.
Oh yeah, it's actually a really interesting read.
Oh, we need to preserve it though, with it being the only one as well. And you know, everyone's getting into sketch cards a bit more. It needs to stay around. It's the struggle for all paper publications though at the moment, isn't it, with the internet and all that? But yeah, it's nice to have something physical though that you can hold.
You don't have to plug it in anywhere to recharge it. It's nice to look at. Or have your kid run off with it and play Mario Brothers or whatever it is. Well, I guess kids don't play that anymore, but anyway.
Oh, they still do. Mario forever. I don't think Mario's ever going to die. All the kids love Mario.
My kids are adults, and they dragged out, which game was it the other day? The guy with the big monkey.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong. That's it. When they were small, they used to play Donkey Kong all the time. Even I played with them a little bit. It's like every time I hear the do 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 do, you know,
the barrels.
Like all of a sudden, I'm transported back to being a young mom and all that. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, much fun.
Yeah. All right.
Products now, I think, guys.
Yes, and a couple of updates here that people had mentioned in the Penciled In Podcast Facebook group. They had mentioned them, so yes, please do go join the group. Let's see. You have a copy. I think I sent you a copy of the page. Elementals and Hallowink from Perna Studios. They're coming out with a new set, and of course, as we know, Hallowink is exclusively black and white, and I think all the cards have to be done in ink. I was actually invited to the set, for which thank you. I was like immensely grateful to be invited. I'm so overloaded with stuff, I couldn't take it right now, but I will be doing a future set for them. Are you?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I haven't done any black and white, just pure ink work for such a long time. I'm quite excited.
Oh yeah,
I'm not quite sure I'm going to approach it yet, because usually I use a blender, and they don't want that. They want pure black and white. They don't want these grey midtones in it. No. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to do, a little bit different.
I wish I could. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see your stuff. Your stuff is tailor-made for black and white. It'll be cool. And then we have, if anybody wants info for those two sets, the Pernas, they operate mostly on DeviantArt. I think most people who listen to this podcast probably know what DeviantArt is, but if you don't, it's a massive site that has been around forever, and people who create pretty much anything are on there. So you want to go to deviantart.com/Perna Studios, and you'll find out more about those sets there. After that, we had a little drop in the bucket of news from our good friend at Cryptozoic, who mentioned that they will be releasing all their new sets and their new things at the SDCC, what is that, San Diego Comic-Con, I think. And they are going to have an animated-based franchise, which will be very sketch card heavy. So that's something that's coming up in the pipeline. Animated franchise. Do you have any idea what that might be, Lindsay?
I haven't got a clue, but I think it's time to send my portfolio to Cryptozoic.
Yep. That would be something good to do. What else? Yes, Paul Bynes. I don't know if anyone here remembers who's listening, but Paul Bynes, way back in the day, should I say 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago or something, he used to have, I think he was one of the first actually to produce a podcast about trading cards and sketch cards, if not the first, but he was probably one of the first. So he's thinking of bringing back his podcast, which was called the UK Cardcast podcast. And he'll be bringing it back as a YouTube channel. And he'll be aiming it mostly at different trading cards from his personal collection and things like that. I'm sure he'll include some sketch cards too. So that's something to keep your eye out for. What else?
It'll be really interesting to talk to him and see what experience he had.
Well, he is scheduled to be on the podcast in 2 weeks, I think. So that'll be coming out in the pipeline. So that's cool. He's got a wonderful British accent, just like you, Lindsay. So it's cool to.
Yeah, actually. Do you know whereabouts in England is from?
No, I don't. I forgot to ask.
It sounds so different, just like a couple of minutes down the road. It's crazy. The amount the accents change in such a short distance.
Oh, I hope to be able to visit one day and listen to all that. That'd be awesome.
I'll have to do a tour.
Oh, a tour, and I want to do a bar tour.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't like Doncaster used to have the most pubs per square mile than any other place. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if now because, everything's been closing down and stuff, but yeah, you used to roll out of one pub and straight into the one next door. That's what you'd be doing in the town centre.
Is that a reflection of the state of mind of the people in your neck of the woods?
It's a lot different now. Like I said, a lot of places have shut down. But when I were young and money were flowing and people were having a good time, town were always packed. All the pubs were always packed.
What interesting. Do you have decent coffee over there?
Sorry?
Do you have decent coffee over there?
Coffee?
Yeah.
Coffee?
Yeah.
We drink tea. No, people do drink coffee. They do. I don't.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah. I do. All right. Who else have we got on the list that's coming up with something? I think you have a list. You should look down.
Where did you send it? It's not on my phone. Did you send
it? Never mind. I did. I popped it in your messenger.
You prompt me and I'll blabber along. It's not
all right. Well, then in that case, let's see. We have Lynn Workman. He says he's planning to do a cartoon monster set. I'm looking at you, Lindsay. You'd be awesome on that. He's looking to do a cartoon monster set, but he doesn't have any actual news on it yet. But he's going to be letting us know when that comes out. He'll be doing a Kickstarter for it. So I can't wait to hear more about that. He'll have big cards, glow in the dark, lenticular stickers. I want stickers on my sets and stuff. Possible metal ones. I wanted a metal card, just a selfish aside here. I have images taken for a metal card for the book project I've got coming, which I'll mention at the very end. But it takes a long time to get metal cards done. So I'm not sure it'll be done in time. It takes at least 3 months for the turnaround. And that might be too long. Yeah, it's a long turnaround time. If you want metal cards for your project from Fairy Metal, you want it done ahead of time, like way ahead of time. And I just didn't get it done fast enough this time.
Yeah.
So we're going to get more news from Lynn Workman, who we actually interviewed as well. That's the Lindsay episode, because it's Lindsay. Yeah, so you guys, you're going to be hearing that very soon as well. Yeah, Lindsay Workman and Lindsay. Okay, and then we go on to Fred Keel. He has a comic book project called Queen Cobra, and that'll be issue 5, and it's coming out in August. So if you're on Facebook, you want to look up Ocean Rising Comics, and you'll be able to find out a little bit more about that, I think.
Ocean Rising Comics.
Yep, Ocean Rising. That's what he dropped in. And lastly, we have some news from Frankie B. Washington, and he's going to be on the podcast with his friend Matthew in 2.5 weeks, I think it is, if I remember right, talking about what I'm talking about here actually. They are two creators and they are doing a crowdfunding campaign, and it's going to start in July, same time as my project. Theirs is called Kaijus and Cowboys 1. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I have to be very honest. I'm not sure what that is, but it's called
So what's the name of it again? What and Cowboys?
Kaijus, I think. Kaijus and Cowboys. Kaijus and Cowboys. It's Kaijus and Cowboys.
Okay.
And they're going to have, they can sign up for a free trading card exclusive to the campaign. They have to go to https zoop.gg/c/Kaijus and Cowboys 1, and they'll get a free card.
A kaiju, excuse me, a kaiju is a Japanese genre of films and television featuring giant monsters. So it's like Godzilla. Very cool.
That's awesome. I'm going to be dropping the links for all this stuff in the show notes on either on the Anchor or the YouTube. So yeah, I've messed up all the words and all, but you can go down into the show notes and you'll get the links to all of that. That's really cool. And so, yeah, the other cool thing about that particular project is that they're trying out something different from Kickstarter, something that I know how to use a little bit. And many of us know how to use. Of course, Richard Parks is like an old veteran pro at that one. But I mean, a young veteran pro at that one. Sorry. My bad.
Charming the Richard.
Yeah. So instead of Kickstarter, they're trying out a platform called Zoop, ZOOP, which I have never heard of before. I've never heard of that. So it'll be very interesting. Like I say, they're going to come on the podcast and talk about how it is working with that particular platform and how it compares to Kickstarter. So I'm actually really interested in hearing about that, because I have, after this book project is done, I'll be still doing other things, and we'll be using Kickstarter unless Zoop is like the new magical thing, in which case I shall.
That's one thing we've neglected to ask people about. Etsy. Like, I know it seems simple. I know like everybody's got one. I think that's why we've taken it for granted and not thought to ask. So we'll find out a bit more about Etsy for you, anybody who's interested.
Yes, I've had
sites.
Do you have an Etsy store, Lindsay?
I've never really got it up and running, to be honest.
No.
I've tried a couple of times, and then yeah, it takes a while to build a following and for people to find you.
God,
you just
I've had one for about 6 or 7 years now, and I have been selling on it because I abandoned eBay.
Right.
I used to sell all the time on eBay, but then as it went along, they take more and more, like I'm a super small seller, like a really small seller. So for people like me, they take a big chunk of the money. Every time you sell something, you have your fees, your listing fees, and then you have a portion of what you sell goes to eBay also. They take a percentage, of course, that's totally normal. That's what they do. They all do that. But then
you're right, though, it is a massive amount.
It's a lot.
I mean, if I sell something for £300, I have to give them £50 of it.
Yep. That's it. It's a lot.
It is a lot. When I first started selling on eBay, like the fees were a lot lower.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like
pushed them up, haven't they? And the site's not working very well at the moment either. You can get stuck in a login loop.
Oh really?
So you go to try and sell something, it makes you log in. You log in, you go back to your selling page. Try to go and sell something, it makes you log in again. Sometimes you'll be doing that, and you have to leave it for a few days until they fix the issue. It's getting ridiculous.
You don't have time for that. We're small sellers. We really don't have time for that.
This isn't good enough to warrant those fees, is it? If they're not.
No, not at all. Like I don't know how much quid are for dollars. Canadian dollars are not worth very much, but if I sell for $200 after at the end of everything that they charge for insert fees, like I just said all that before, it's like at least $50 is going to go for that, and that's a big chunk. So
That is, yeah.
I went over to Etsy, of course, and Etsy does charge a little less. That's the good thing. But they still do charge, and I don't know, I find it hard to get people to go there for some odd reason. I used to have a Shopify shop that I have on my website, and I have to say I really like that. There you pay an upfront fee of well, I don't know what it is now, because like I have to redo my website, and then I may well actually bring back the Shopify and abandon everything else. But it was, at that time, it was $9 a month, but you knew that you only had to pay $9 a month every month. It was never like all of a sudden $75 and you're like, what the hell is this? You know, no, it was a fixed price every month. Of course, you don't have the audience that like YouTube has, but what am I saying? YouTube, eBay, you don't have the audience that eBay has. But at the same time, eBay is so big, it's hard to be found in the crowd also. So it comes to the same thing.
Yeah. It's hard figuring out just the right way to do everything.
So if anybody's listening to this and they have a point of view to mention, we'd love to have you on to talk about the business of selling, you know. It's there are a lot of places out there.
Yeah, definitely.
So what have you got?
All the releases, we know everything that's coming out that we know of anyway.
Yeah, the ones that we know of. Yeah, that's it. Except for my Kickstarter, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. That's the last book of The Art of Sketch Cards. It's the 3rd volume. It's the last chapter, the end of it all. It's
the penultimate.
The penultimate.
Oh, it's the last, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
I can't remember what words mean.
Anyway, that's
last chance.
Yeah. Chance. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's
I'm sure this one does. Like,
I hope this one will go through okay. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you out all the time. What did you say?
Oh, it's fine. I'm just waffling. I would like to say now how beautiful the books are, and I'm sure the 3rd one will be the most spectacular.
It's a real challenge. That's something else that's might be interesting for people, is just how challenging it is. Now there's a paper shortage. So that affects things that you and I do. And for me, the book project, the paper short books will still be printed, but it takes longer for the process to actually go through. So it may take a little longer than it did for the previous 2 books. And the prices go up because it's harder to get the, you know, so there's a bit of a snowball effect with the pandemic and politics and all that stuff. So, but it will still happen. It will just take a little longer. What have you got happening, Lindsay, these days?
Well, like Harris mentioned earlier, we've got Nosferatu between the 4 publishers.
Yeah.
So there's that going on. My first card set that I'm going to release is going to be Die Rabbit Die.
Yay! Die Rabbit Die. Die, you rabbit, die.
Die. I need to get myself some editing software because I want to make a video for the Kickstarter, just a funny, entertaining little video. I'm going to use Keelan Day for a voiceover because his voices are brilliant. Like, if anybody's making a video and they want a professional voiceover actor, I would ask Keelan Day.
Where can they find him?
He's on Facebook. I mean, we did do an interview with Keelan Day, so if that one's out by the time this comes out, go and find him and have a listen where to find him. So I'm excited to do that. That'll be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah.
And also recently, just off the cuff, I did some Manos the Hands of Fate cards, but I did them as cats, and people really, really enjoyed them. So I think I might do a Patas the Paws of Fate card set.
That's awesome.
I'll do the scenes as little cats, you know, and then if people like that, I could do dogs or whatever, you know.
Sausage dogs. You must do sausage dogs.
I'll make sure I get is it a dachshund, the proper name for them?
Yes.
I'll make sure I get a dachshund in there for you, Ingrid, if I do dogs. So hopefully Die Rabbit Die will be out soonish once I get the Kickstarter up and going. There'll also be Kitty Eerie Volume 2. Last year, me and Richard released Kitty Eerie Set 1, which is like a little kitty cat in all these Halloween costumes. So this year, there's going to be another 10 cards of the little kitty cat in all these Halloween costumes.
Oh.
So we thought it's a nice joint project for us to do every year. It's kind of cute. So I think that's everything I've got coming up in terms of publishing anyway.
You are busy.
Not ridiculously busy. Ridiculously. I need a holiday.
Oh, yes. So how are you managing all this busyness as an artist? God.
I have to hop around my jobs, in between this and that. And, I'll organize myself and go, well, I've got this and this and that to do on the computer. So tomorrow I'll do computer work. And then, just whatever's pending and urgent, get on with that. And also try and do a little bit of stuff that's due for the future. So that's ready. And it's just hopping around it all, really. That helps me to keep on top of it. Because what I've found is if I force myself to do the stuff that's due like right now, I don't do a good job and it takes me so much longer. So I'll get out of the way things that I really want to do. So that's done and ready. And then go back to the stuff that is due. And I'll make a much better job of it because I've got this other stuff out of my head, if you know what I mean. So
it's a real relief. It's such a positive feeling when you get something done and put aside. It puts you in a good mood to do whatever else it is you have coming up, right?
Go tick.
Even if you're not a list person, it's still nice to tick the done.
I love finding an old list because I can go,
Oh yeah.
I did that ages ago. But it just reminds you as well, like you've been in this situation before where you've had so much work on and you got through it and you did it.
Oh, yes.
So there's that as well. That's why another reason it's nice to find an old list. You can see what you've achieved a little bit,
Almost every morning when I open my laptop and I have an app called Things that I use, and I've got my to-do list. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, I can't do it. You can do it. You can.
Like sometimes you're just looking for an easy win. What's easy? What's that? That one. Because some days, you've got more brain power than other days. Like some days I just can't get my head around stuff and I will go for the easy stuff. Excuse me. It's all about knowing yourself and how to work with yourself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a really hard lesson to learn, is how to work with yourself. How can you, and how to recognize, well, today is not a good day to do X job. If you can permit yourself to do that, sometimes you have to do it, but if you know, well, this is not a day to invent something or do sketches for a new idea because your head is just not there. So you do something else.
Yeah. I mean, days when I've got there'll be days I have no creative ideas at all. I'll just be a bit like,
yeah.
And that's what I tend to do, something where I'm just copying a reference, like your realism. So I can just go on autopilot and just copy the colours. And then, I'm not having to think of ideas or anything. And then other days I really can't be bothered with detail work. So then I will go and gather references and think of ideas and maybe fill in big blocks of colour or whatever.
Does it ever come up on you all of a sudden that you're like, oh my God, idea. And then you go look down stuff for that idea? Does that ever happen? I'll say that. I'll take that as a no.
I'm trying to think if it has. I'm just trying to figure out what process like my brain goes through when I am doing a project, because sometimes you do get something popping into your head just dead easily. Like I really wanted to enter that Printed in Blood competition at one point.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to do it, but it was a Hannibal one. And straight away I got a vision of Hannibal as an artist, but instead of a paintbrush, he had a scalpel. And instead of a paint on his palette, he had organs. And he was like kind of,
Ooh, that would have been so awesome.
It would have been so awesome, wouldn't it? But I never got around to doing it. But sometimes I get like an instant idea like that would have been great. And then sometimes I'll just sit there for ages going, nothing's coming. Like something comes eventually, but you know.
What I hate is I get ideas when I'm driving, and that's really not the time because you can't. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know. Driving, it's like my brain goes into, and then it just stuff happens. I don't know. Things happen in there. I don't know. I hate it when it does that. But
background noise. You might need to sit next to the washing machine.
There are great playlists on Spotify for that. Actually, you can actually have the sound of tennis shoes bombing around in the dryer if you like that kind of thing. For sure.
Wow.
Yeah. I've actually used it a couple of times, and I just can't stand the thought of listening to myself in my head anymore. I will put on something like tennis shoes in a dryer or something, just anything to get the stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid, eh? There you go.
Well, we do whale noises, don't we, and stuff.
Birds are nice, but then I want to go outside, so no.
You know what noise I like?
But
I like it when a stone falls into a lake or something.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The sound of rain is really nice too. That's very, very, it just puts you into a Twin Peaks mode where you've got weird things going all over the place like this. Yeah.
Raintops on roofs. That's
Yeah.
really nice. Raintops?
Right. Raindrops, Lindsay. Raindrops.
Put me in bin already. So we're going to talk about we've talked about some products, haven't we, that are coming out?
Yeah.
Projects coming out, sorry. Products.
What?
Products. Are we doing some products?
Products. Yeah. Well, let's do a few of the products you use. No, girls, not that kind of product. I mean, the stuff you use.
Art products.
Yes.
Art
products. So you go first.
Oh, I don't know where to start. When I first started, I was using, the super expensive Copic Chow.
Oh yeah, I have a bunch of those. Oh God, I have, and I don't use them anymore.
Nope, me either, because they're so expensive. And I'm just not the type of person who's organised enough to stay on top of the refills. So no more Copic Chow.
I have a huge container of Copics that I just don't use anymore. And I don't even know, like I would give them away to somebody who wants them. I just don't even know if they actually even work anymore now.
I don't think they even need to work because you can change the nibs and refill them. If they're the refillable kind.
Yes, they're the refillable kind.
Whether somebody will still have them off you, I'm sure. I've seen just the pens that have run out selling on eBay. People buy just the pens and replace the tips.
I also have refills, some of the refills that I haven't even opened yet, just because all of a sudden I went, ooh, shiny acrylic, and I went that way.
Yeah, not playing with them anymore.
So what else have you got?
So what I did after those, I also used Winsor & Newton black, and they're actually really nice. They're still fairly expensive though.
They have markers?
Windsor & Newton markers.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Nice. Do they work well? I've never used those.
Chiseled tip and your little tip. See, they were always nice to use, but again, they're like, what were they? They used to be about 11 quid for 5, so that's not too bad.
11
cheap
quid.
Chow.
I don't know how much a quid is in dollars, but it sounds expensive.
Isn't a quid like double? Is it about double a Canadian dollar?
Everything's double Canadian dollars. The Canadian dollars are worth nothing.
I'll have to find the exchange rate. So yeah, I was like, this is getting a little bit expensive. So I thought, well, let's just look for some bog standard cheap ones. And I ended up with some of these. I don't make these anymore. Tian Hao. Can't find sale anymore.
Okay. I'm sorry, I cut over you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying I can't find them for sale anywhere anymore, so they must have stopped making them. But you got a massive thing like this for about 30 quid. And it had just tons of colours in it. Not so much your pastel-y colours. It didn't have any of those in it, but for bright colours, fine. Worked fine as long as you're not too fast. I wouldn't recommend cheap markers for a big picture because you do this and it goes splatter, 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 splatter. But you know, if you're doing a tiny little sketch card, you're not going that fast. You're not, you know, you can be careful with them really, and it saves you a lot of money. But now that they don't make those anymore, I found these, and these are just so much better.
Oh, I have seen the name. I've definitely seen it. That's ARRTX for those who are on the audio. Arctics.
They're not expensive at all. You can get a massive thing in gray. You can get massive skin tones, because that's what I was running out of a lot. I was running out of skin tone all the time. So, best thing I've ever bought. So
where
you can
did
get
you find them?
Sorry?
Where did you find them?
I found those on Amazon. I don't know if they still sell them. I'll have to have a look. But last time they had a sale on, I just bought loads because I love the fact that they do full sets of colours rather than a mixture of colours. Because you find you always run out of certain ones more than others. Blue, always running out of blue. Ridiculous the amount of blue I go through. And like I say, skin tones. So, and your browns, because, you know, if you're doing scenery, there's always a lot of muted colours in there. And that's most of the time with your cheap sets, you just can't get muted colours. They're just all like Sharpies and super bright, you know. But with these, you can. You'll really like those.
What do you use for inks?
Inks? Staedtler, just your Staedtler fine liners. For black, I'll just use, if it's a big black area, I'll just use black Sharpie. But then I'll go over the top of it with black pencil crayon. And the black pencil crayons I use aren't even that expensive either. They're Stabilo. They're like big chunky ones. You can get big packs to 12. The last ages, because I was just going through so much black as well. So I've found like cheaper alternatives to everything as I've gone along. Yeah, just your Staedtler pigment fine liners.
Yep, standard Staedtler.
Standard. Highlights. White Posca.
Okay. I have 2 of those. I actually bought 2 of those just to try them out because they have they're acrylic, I think, or they have. So I thought, hey, give that a try. Maybe I could, you know.
Have you used it yet?
I tried it and I didn't like it, but it's probably because I'm not used to it. If I actually gave it a chance, maybe I would actually like it. I'm trying to find a way to do, you know, sometimes, like it or not, you're really pressed for time for some sets. So I was trying to find a way, maybe, you know.
I found them nice just for like eye glints or whiskers, or, you know, just just a little line on an edge so you don't have to get your long brush out and be all neat. I did get one of these the other day. The first time I've had one of these. That's a jelly roll.
Oh, yeah.
Roll.
Is it fun?
It's not as good as a Posca pen.
No.
I can tell you that. I mean, you can get a thinner line with it.
Okay.
But I would suggest just use it sparingly because, you know, if you go over it again, it just sort of gets rid of it all. It's a bit, you know, you got to be careful. It's a tiny little delicate things, really, that I would say. Not for any solid edgings.
Your primary tool that you use, it would be the markers, right?
Yeah, all different kinds of markers as well. There's another brand I use, Spectrum Noir, and they're all right, but again, they do the sets of just one color, and that's what I like. So they were all blues, and I actually used quite a lot of these. I bought a couple of packs of them because got a couple of really nice blues in there. So once you find like colors that you enjoy using that look nice, you know, if they keep selling them, you can keep buying them, can't you? But yeah, I don't know how long these companies last. Like I say, those other cheap ones I've got, I have no idea where that company went, but there you go.
Yeah.
And they've not run out yet because obviously sketch cards are so titchy, teeny weeny, like you. Takes a good long while to run out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good thing about it, at least.
Mm,
Do you use any watercolors at all?
I do. I do.
Which kind do you
I
use?
thought
Because
watercolors though.
I brought
Going,
some of mine that I thought I'd show also.
you, you show yours. You show yours. I'll show you mine. If I can find them. Go on, what brands are yours?
Well,
On
um,
ground.
yeah, I used to use the Copics, and again, I've got a whole mess that I'd be happy to give them to someone for the price of shipping. Because I really like them. I like them a lot, but it wasn't doing what I wanted. So one day it was like, now I've got to try something else. So I tried acrylics. I didn't really like it at first. I tried it again. I was like, oh my God, I must continue doing this. And that's like, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. So I kept on that. I've always wanted to do oils. So I actually have done a bunch of cards with oils, but the ones that I've done in oils, they were marked. I wrote on the back that they were oils. So if you think you got one of my cards and they might be oils, if it doesn't say oils on the back, it's acrylic, which is really good too. Acrylics are much more practical because they dry so fast. But what makes them hard is they dry so fast. So, it's a whole technique. I used to use Liquitex, which anybody who knows anything of acrylics will know what that is, but I don't use them anymore because the ones that I get, it's like painting with milk, and I just don't like that. I mean, if it works for you, that's fabulous, but for me, it just drives me bananas. So what I use now is mostly golden. This is I think.
Oh, I've never seen those before. I've never heard of those.
They're more expensive than Liquitex, but the quality is very good. They offer regular acrylics, and then they offer open, which means the drying time is a little longer. Personally, I don't find it's worth because they're a bit more expensive. I personally don't find the extra expense worth it to buy the open ones. I don't see a huge difference. What I use instead is if I really want to slow things down a little bit, I use this. Is it focusing? There you go. I use that Liquitex. Oh, it doesn't want to. There we go. So this is Liquitex, but it works with any brand. It works with anything. It doesn't necessarily, well, it does slow down the drying a little bit. It makes your paint a little bit more.
You just add it to your paint.
Yeah, you want to put just a little bit. You lay out your paint as if it was oils or anything else, and you can. I put a little bit of this in the middle, and then I take from it when I need it. It doesn't last long though. Like I have a stay wet thing that has a rubber sponge in, and then you put a piece of paper that's made to be wet, put it on top, and then when I lay out my acrylics, it's good for at least 2 days, sometimes 3, depending on the weather.
There's any of that because you can get paper that you put on your palette as well, can't you?
That's it. Yes, you
Right.
have. Yeah, you've got this yellow sponge. It's called Stay Wet, I think. And then you get a special kind of paper that you put on top. You have to soak it for like, it says 20 minutes, but 15 minutes usually works fine. You soak it in warm water, and you put it in, and you have a special container that closes. It seals airtight all the way around. So once you put your paint in, you're good for 2 days at least. The downside is that the paint does tend to run around a little bit and mix with each other, but you can get around that. It's all right. But this does help sometimes when you want to mix your colors, like as if they were oils a little bit, but nothing is like oil paint than oil paint. That's just what it is. But this is another brand that I really like. It's Holbein acrylics. Not everybody likes these. I love them. It's just for me, my personal taste.
What's people's problem with them?
I'm sorry?
What's the problem with them?
They're expensive.
That's why I don't like them.
Well, I don't know. It all depends. I just see a lot of negative reviews from them. I love these. It's like painting with oils, except they dry fast because they're acrylics, but otherwise they're great. I just love these. These, they're really expensive. But when they have a sale, I buy. I don't buy as many colors as I used to. When I first started, I was like buying all the colors of all the things of all the time, you know. But now what I've learned is, for me, I kind of like having a small palette. And that way I know that when I mix that blue with that red, it's going to give me that color. And when I mix I mix my own blacks most of the time, because the black that comes in a tube is black, but it's a real flat black, you know, it's kind of a dull black. Whereas when I mix, like I like this one, this is a super expensive blue. This tube is like $15 for me. It's like really expensive. But I mix this with I have a tube of brown. It's what is it? Burnt umber, I think. Burnt sienna or something. I forget. I don't.
Sienna's the darker one.
Yeah, it's one of the darker ones. But anyways, I mix it with the blue, and it makes for a really nice deep black. Whereas if I want, like, if I mix it with raw umber like this, it gives a nice deep. It's not quite black, but it's a little bit more earthy black, if you like, kind of like a bone black, I guess.
Well, there's no such thing as black in nature anywhere.
No,
that's something that we've made. It doesn't exist in nature, so obviously it does look flat when you just pop that straight on your painting. You need those browns and blues in your shadows to make it, you know.
If I'm really in a rush, I will put black on, and then I'll mix in some of this blue, and it kind of brightens it up a little bit. I do like that. One cool thing,
I think you can get away with actually using the black and mixing those others in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't look, you know, it doesn't look like flat.
Yeah, because the black, I haven't found a black in a tube that I like. It looks like, I don't know. It just looks dead and awful and yucky and flat, and it looks actually almost like a gray instead of a black, I find, when it dries. Because acrylics, by the way, don't dry the same color as oils do when they dry. Acrylics dry a little bit lighter, where oils tend to deepen a bit, you know. But then greens, of course, greens are a bit of a challenge, I find. But one nice earthy green that's kind of cool is if you take a tube black and you mix some yellow in, you get a really nice green from that. You can play with that. You can add a few other greens if you like, to play with the value and all that. But a black and a yellow will often make a really nice green, or a very nice plant green, if you get my drift. So
I love it. Obviously I love black on like comic books and things like that, you know, on graphics. It looks amazing. But for what you do for proper painting, and when you want to get depth and realism, and, you know.
Don't forget that when you're looking at a comic book, it's printed black with whatever they do. And even there, they mix their own blacks too, you know. It's the mix of stuff. Well, isn't that what CMYK is? It's the blue and and when the seems, anyway, I don't know that much about print, but I thought
it might be. I don't know a lot about it, to be honest. I'm just thinking of it graphically, like.
Yeah. So I don't know the kind of inks that they use. It makes for a super nice, deep, luxurious black, which I don't know how to reproduce and paint, except for oils. Oils will give you a lot of, and then I've got all my. You don't want to see my brushes because I have to buy small brushes every week. I go through them every week, but these are because I love and I got my casings here. These smell sweet, by the way. It smells like candy. These are casein, it's kind of like gouache, which is kind of cool if you're just playing around in a sketchbook and you're going traveling like you're going to do, Lindsay, eventually. And you can bring these along. They don't bother people too much because they smell nice. They're flat also, but they're really cool. These are really cool.
Is that acrylic again?
It's casein. It's different. It's I used to remember how it's made.
Water-based or?
Water-based. These are water-based, yes.
So you can blend it with water.
Yep. It's like gouache. It's like gouache, but you get a slightly different effect with them. They're really, really neat. I really like them, actually. I just haven't had the time to play more with them. I've got a whole set of colors. I only brought 2 here, but I have a set of 5 colors, which is something else I like to do. Is I have maybe 7 colors on my palette, and I always use those because you know when you mix that color with that color, you're going to get that. So when you're in a real hurry, you don't have to go, what am I going to do today? You can just mix your colors and just, you know where it is. And I'm terrible for that. My colors are always in exactly the same place. For 12 years, blue is over here, yellow is there, red is there. And I don't even have to look. I can just. So these are my watercolors. I use these. I have a lot of Van Goghs. What do you use? What? It's the same thing. God, it's just I have them into two. Yeah, well, see.
It's a little tiny travel set of watercolors.
Oh yeah, I love these. I love them. It's so much fun.
They're just easy. And like with watercolor, you just don't need much paint. So
watercolors are great. They dry, they take care of themselves, they put themselves to bed, they make their own meals. It's wonderful. See, I got these two. These are really nice. I really like this set.
What make is that? These are Darla and Rowney.
This is Winsor and Newton, this set here. I got them with the paint in, you know, so that was great. And with this is, I don't know what this is. This is Van Gogh also. Van Gogh is pretty affordable. It's not expensive at all. But this is my favorite set. As you can see, I use it all the time.
I did get some Van Gogh pencils once, and I didn't take to them.
No.
Like, I'm going to have to dig them out. I'm not sure if I might not be using them properly. You know, sometimes when you buy yourself a little art set, it'll have stuff in it, and I'll not know what it's for. Like, what's that for? I don't get what am I supposed to do with that? And then I'll use it, and it'll be like really charcoaly, and I'm like, I'm not using these properly. Like, whatever style these are meant to do, I don't know what I'm doing, and there never seems to be like a proper instruction in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I've just stopped buying little art sets like that.
Well, yeah, the little art sets, like I won't buy a whole set of anything unless I know what it is now. If they don't offer sample sets or one at the time, I like to buy one at the time and then I test it out and see if I like it or not. But I have a lot of Prismacolors. I have a lot of pencils, the color pencils. I love color pencils. I love them so much. It takes so long. It's so long.
I love color pencils.
Lindsay, we should do a color pencil set together. Yes. Yes.
One I've had longest is probably
Yes.
this one. What did you say?
I said we have to do a color pencil set together. Where we do
color
yeah.
What drawing all in
cards. A set of cards, just color pencils, you and I.
No Copics, just color pencils.
Just color pencils.
Blender.
Of course.
It's just so much easier to spread the pigment than going, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
These are Faber-Castell. They've always
yes, those are amazing. I love those.
For me, polychromos ones. Obviously, Prismacolor is always ace.
Yep.
Always brilliant.
I must have about 1,000 of those.
Terrible ones. This is terrible. This is Montmartre.
Oh, I have one of those. My God, yes.
Very hard, very scratchy. Just no, not nice. See, again, I was trying to get a portrait set because I've run out of portrait pencils as well frequently because it's just doing so many people. Yeah, but no, they're horrible. Don't ever buy those, anyone.
Oh no, they're pretty bad. Some of them, it's like the I don't know. You have to push so hard to get anything to get off, even if you freshly sharpen it. It's still I don't know. Like you say, maybe you have to. And they're not watercolor or nothing. I don't know. Anyways,
these are nice. Castle Arts.
Oh, that I've not tried.
Soft touch Castle Arts.
Nice. Soft touch.
Yeah, no, they're really, really lovely to use those. And they're not something I commonly hear of, so I thought I'd mention those because I think they're a bit cheaper than Prismacolor. Thing is, I love Prismacolor. It's really like soft, but have you noticed when you sharpen them, the nib can just carry on breaking and breaking and breaking.
God, thank you. I'm not the only person. I'll start out with a brand new pencil and I'll have like a new sharpener, and my other half actually gave me an electric one time, But for the Prismacolors, very often you'll just start with a new one, and by 15 minutes later, you keep trying click, click, breaks, sharpen, draw, break, click. So you're after 15 minutes, it's like this long, and you have to buy a new one. Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's only certain ones in the pack though that do it. So I've learned which ones not to sharpen and which ones are fine with sharpening.
Oh yeah, I think you have to use the knife. Is that it?
Yeah, I use the knife. I mean, this one was fine. I've got some soap. Let me show you some of my tiniest pencils.
I have a box collected full of little tiny pencils, and then I've got one of those mechanical extenders. You stick it in a little, one of those mechanical. Yeah. I've got a bunch of those. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't chuck them because they're still, if you just need something just for a sec, I can't bring myself to get rid of it. I think I've seen other people say that as well. They can't bring themselves to chuck them.
No.
They just keep sharpening it till there's nothing left.
Well, okay, I think we better bring this to a close. I think we're going on almost 2 hours or something.
Okay. I could chat all day, me.
Oh, yeah. Especially about tools. I really like that. But anyway, for this, which was supposed to be a mini episode, it's ended up being one of the longest ones. Yeah. So anyway, we'll be doing this.
Maybe we could put a timestamp in it so they know where Harris ends, and then we talk a little bit about projects, and then we start talking about materials. So with a few timestamps, people can find where they need to be, can't they?
Yes. Give me more stuff to do. Thank you.
I'll just shut up. Just shut up then. My word.
I also have to make a video for my Kickstarter too. It won't be funny or anything. It'll just be like, hey, I'm here, books.
But you know how to do it now.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I've been learning. Which one is it that you're using again?
Right now, I use LumaFusion right now. It's like a step up from iMovie, because iMovie, yeah, it's okay, but you can't do anything with it.
Ella, do they do a free trial by any chance?
Probably.
So I only need to make one little video.
Oh yeah, well, you could send it over to me. I've got nothing else to do but that.
No, we got too much to do. I'll sort it out. I'll find something somewhere. It's not going to be complicated.
LumaFusion, it's not like Premiere Pro would be the best to do, I suppose, obviously. But I don't know how long this podcast is going to last. So should I learn Premiere Pro or what? And in any case, the focus is on the amazing people that come on. So I don't see that I need to make fireworks every 10 seconds or something. It's. So yeah, I really like LumaFusion. You can still do a lot with it. I mean, I think you can. More than I know how to do. I only know how to do the basics of it right now. I would like to learn to use it properly though, which I will. But yeah.
Cool.
I'll learn to draw one day too.
For hours.
Okay, so yeah, last to end this, I'd like to say, don't forget to check out the NSU magazine. Go find yourself a copy. It is basically the only magazine out there that covers trading cards and sketch cards and gives you price guides and all that amazing stuff. And they do give you a lot of resources to different things. So do go find yourself a copy and get yourself on board with that. And of course, they're highlighting the two amazing people who are doing the only sketch card podcast there is, us. Check out Lindsay's work and her cards at legdaycards.com.
It will be when it's launched, yes. www.legdaycards.com.
Okay.
And similarly, you must buy Ingrid's book.
Because buying the book means you're helping to support the podcast. And this podcast is done on our own time with our own funds. We have had a few very generous supporters who watch the podcast and have helped us to pay for some of the fees and all of that, and we are forever grateful. Please continue to support us while we're doing this. We're not doing jobs that we're supposed to be doing, so do help us keep going. Visit the people that we interview, support us, all that cool stuff. So yeah, and I'll be releasing my Kickstarter in about 2 weeks or so, but we'll be doing more updates and news and things. So send us news so that we know that we can do another episode, and we'll share your stuff.
And if you haven't already, subscribe.
Yes, subscribe. Okay. Bring donuts.
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. See you next time.